Hello, I'm Joan Manson of Manson Fine Art. Thank you for joining me today as I create a beautiful portrait of an orange breasted sunbird using Caran D'Ache pastel pencils on a recycled watercolor paper. Now this bird has wonderful colors. Of course I'm going to have the black. These are made in Switzerland, and let me put that there. I have green. I'm going to use this green here. This is called moss green, middle moss green. I need an orange, obviously, for here. This one is called fast orange. Interesting names. Now I need a purple, and I have a lovely purple right here, and I also have a light violet. This is called plum, and this one is called light ultramarine violet. I'm going to be putting that right there. Because it's got blue in it, it's going to have a nice contrast to the yellow and to the green. Now I need some sort of shades of brown, and I think this is ochre. Use that ochre. Blending isn't quite the same as it is for regular pastels, soft pastels. I can't limit my palette quite as much. I'm certainly not going to use all of my pencils, but I'm not able to limit the palette the way I would like to. I have black, but I need a darker brown. I have a sepia. I think I'll use the sepia here in the face. And I have a white for bringing over some lightness to some of the areas. And let's see, is there anything else I think I need here? This lighter orange. Interesting. This is called Desert Rose. Looks more like a salmon to me. I think I'm going to give it a try. If I don't like it, I don't like it, and I'll use the yellow if that doesn't work. So I have the colors that I'm going to use. I'll put the others back in their place. There we go. Now, I have to draw. I'm using what's new to me. It's a recycled paper. It's a watercolor paper, and it's wonderful. It's got a mottled texture. It looks like it's 100 years old, which is really exciting. It's pretty thick. There's a softness about it, and I believe this color is going to come forward nicely. I'm going to use, I think I can just use the ochre to do my drawing. Not a little too light. I'll go ahead and use the plum, just for the fun of it. I'll put that over here, standing up in front of me. I'm drawing freehand, which means where I'm concerned, the dimensions won't be exactly the same because I tend to draw a little bit larger, but I'm going to try to control that a bit. I'm going to draw in segments. Yeah, I'm drawing a little too big here. Let's rub that out. I won't be able to fit on the paper if I do so much more. It's a wonderful thing about drawing with pastels. You can just brush them away. This is just a cute little round guy. And let's just, that wing there. And now I have a bit of a tail here. Not quite that long. And then our branch is going upward. There we go. I have a little pink eraser here. Just get rid of that shadow. Okay. If at any time you're interested in subscribing, please click on subscribe, and if you click on the bell, you'll get notifications of my new posts, which right now are sort of not very regular. I'm trying to get into a routine, but you know, life is tough. I have a part-time job as a librarian, a 24/7 vocation as an artist, and I'm a 24/7 caregiver. Plus, we have 2 little dogs who are older and they need attention. But I like the company, so let's see. I want to try to be looser in this work. I want to try to have a freer work. I studied online. I've been an artist, well, since childhood, but I'm old now, so I went to art school back in the 80s. I went to college and majored in art. And I tried watercolor before, but mostly I worked with gouache, which I found to be very helpful. But my major medium was art, and then oil, and then acrylic painting. But what I like about a lot of watercolor is that there's a freedom and a wonderful energy. And I studied with online through YouTube, and I followed a couple of artists, one of whom is still, because I still watch her videos, Louise Damasi, who's from Australia. And what I've enjoyed is that she's been evolving herself as a watercolor artist and her creating a freer and freer style as she goes along. I'm just sort of marking out the places where the greens will be. And working with, what I love to do is with a limited palette, and I just adore working with a limited palette. Unfortunately, with pencils, it's a little trickier unless I'm working just white on black. there's my drawing. I'm going to start and move down here, and you can see I have my drawing. I'm sorry, it's a little out of space. I'm going to work on the branch first. What I'm going to do is take that sepia pencil and run it along the bottom, because this is the shadow side of this branch. And I'm going to just put some arbitrary lines because it's the bark of the branch. And there are dark sides and there are light sides. Let's say this paper, while it takes the pastel, it feels funny. See when I'm done how it looks. But it has it feels like it's running across cloth. And I'm going to bring in the ochre. Not sure how I'm going to like this, how it blends with it, but we'll see. I'm using a tortillon. It's a number 2 in an extender. I like using the extender. See it rubbing in, and again, it's like I'm wearing down the fibers. I wonder if this will go through a printer. Go back with sepia again. Subsequent layers go on better. It feels better. But I can see the fibers of the paper coming up. Probably definitely a watercolor. Watercolor would be great. I had thought, since I use watercolor paper sometimes with my pastels, that would be a good match, but see, not so much. I'm going to use what they're calling a rose over here as well to lighten up some areas. And then I'm going to bring in the white. It's a nice strong white. It really is. I'm not going to blend the white, I'm just going to let it in. It's almost like it's rescuing the branch. And then we're going to bring that sepia back. It doesn't have really a lot of tooth. Just doing squiggle lines, creating the idea of bark. I'm not sure how it's going to work with this bird is probably going to be redone on a pastel paper. Any one of a number of kind. I have pastel matte, I have other sanded papers, I've got Canson I have toned grays and all kinds of wonderful colors. And I thought I could try watercolor again. I'll definitely try this paper. But I think more than likely it's destined to be a gift to somebody who does watercolor. And I know who. Let's see. I have lots of friends who do creative work. Okay. Moving back. Go look at that bottom tail. I'm just going to bring these down lightly. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of that yellow. This is a yellow tint in that shadow. And we're going to bring in some yellow right here. This really is sort of more like coloring. Bring the orange. Because I don't want to overblend. Throw a little ochre on top of that orange. I don't know that the paper will hold up very well. Come back down with the black to the legs. And I have to confess that I am simply not very good about, doing that thing where you test papers first. I always like to do a project. I prefer to do a project and see how everything works. So here I am doing a project on a paper I thought was going to be fabulous. And I was wrong. Oh well, it's happened before, it will happen again. I'm going to go ahead and move into the eye here. Make a little circle and leave that spot. There we go. The eye is lovely. Okay. I'm going to work over. I'm going to bring the white over on the beak first. Normally I would bring down the sepia or the black and then bring the white over, but I'm going to create a gray because you can blend the pencils by overlaying them. I'm going to blend that up. Let me turn this around a bit so I can get a better angle. that looks acceptable. Oh, sip of coffee. So I'm going to bring in yellow first. And the yellow and the purple are just going to work so beautifully together. And sometimes I like to work just white on black. Sometimes I like to do graphite drawings. But the exciting thing about working in color is making those colors pop. I'm not pressing really hard. I'm really just brushing in lines following the feather lines. Detailing will come after. I'm not sure about the detailing because, as I say, this paper is very delicate in this situation. I might try it with graphite paper pencils before I give it away. Use my fingers to blend it down a bit, but even with my finger, it's not quite as good as I would like it to be. Of course, the white pencil will remedy a lot of this. I'm really happy with the pencils. It's not that if I draw with the pencil on, this is pastel paper. It works beautifully. It's very smooth. I'm not sure this works well with pencil at all. This plum is a lot deeper than I expected. That's okay. It'll lighten it up with this light violet. Just some blending down using the stump. I wonder how this would work on pan pastels. I could try that. In fact, I might try the same bird in pan pastels. But this is definitely the wrong paper for pencils. Now I'm going to take the ochre, and I'm pretty much just going to cover the whole thing and the whole face, and then put in detail with the black. Just doing little circles, filling it up. I haven't got a lot of layers in this, so I don't want to get too crazy. And now I'm going to bring in the black putting in those little lots of colors in different places. Keeping it loose. All right. I do believe that we're finished. I was going to try to do a little flash of color in the background. I'm not too sure how well this will hold up with the pencils. I'll have to rub them in. Not going to do that. I'm going to come back with a little pencil over here. Highlight the white a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Taking my chances by adding more white. And a little white here on the head. I do believe that having white pencils, pastel color pencils, white gel pens are really essential. You just never know where you're going to need that difference, and white, when it's a good strong white, will change the contrast. I'm just going to come through here. And I'm going to bring the yellow back. I just want to have a few stray hairs here. Okay, I think she's finished. I'm going to sign the Orange Breasted Sunbird portrait. I'm not sure if I'm going to spray this with the fixative because I'm not sure how this paper will work, so I'm going to leave it be. Today is the 15th. Of May. I'm going to bring that back a little bit more. Ooh, back, let's do, there we go. My goodness. And let's make it a little bit straighter. Okay, that's straighter. Bring you up a bit. Might try this with a pan pastel, but definitely not with colored pencils or pastel pencils. But still, it's a beautiful paper, and I'm sure it'll do very nicely with watercolors and probably gouache as well. Thank you for joining me. As I said, if you want to follow me, go ahead and just click on subscribe, and there is a little icon on the bottom right of the screen, and you can click on that to bring it up, and click on bell if you'd like to be reminded of my new videos. Thank you so much for joining me today, and everybody have a beautiful day, and remember to just go out there and create for the fun of it. Doodle, whatever you want to do. It'll make you feel so much better.